Gentleman yields back. I'll now go to Ms. Lesko from Arizona for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to say I have a lot of eye rolling going on over here, so I apologize. I have to deal with bad decisions this administration makes on a daily basis, but stopping the progress of building U.S. LNG terminals is just simply an irrational decision. I cannot imagine a worse conceived idea that is more detrimental to reducing worldwide greenhouse gas emissions, and it also decreases world energy security and U.S. national security. President Biden claims he wants to reduce emissions. Banning LNG exports does the opposite. Let's start off with some facts from Biden's own Department of Energy. His own Department of Energy. The U.S. has been the world leader in lowering carbon emissions. How did we do it? Primarily by substituting natural gas for coal power generation. We reduced our power sector emissions by 36%, over 1 billion metric tons of CO2. By 2050, worldwide coal consumption will increase from 8 billion tons to 9 billion tons, an increase of over 1 billion tons. If the Biden administration would do the smart thing and increase LNG exports to Europe, India, and Asia, we can help them reduce their coal consumption by the same percent, which would be 3 billion metric tons, and reduce CO2 emissions many billions of tons. It's a common sense and easy task to substitute U.S. natural gas for Russian natural gas that continues to flow to our allies in NATO and the EU. Russian natural gas exported to Europe has a life cycle emissions profile 41% higher than U.S. LNG exported to Europe. If the European Union switched all of their natural gas imports to in 2021 from Russia to the U.S., emissions would have been reduced over 218 million tons over the course of its life cycle. Biden has waged a war on American energy while ignoring the fact that even his own Energy Information Agency has said global demand for energy will increase by 50% between now and 2050. Embracing cleaner U.S. technology, U.S. resources, and free market principles is what allowed the U.S. to reduce emissions while ensuring reliable and affordable energy. President Biden and his administration have consistently opposed American energy development. Rather than restricting domestic energy and mineral production, we need to unlock American resources to provide energy security here at home and for our allies abroad. Mr. Rice, this so-called pause was a political decision taken by DOE, given that DOE has now politicized a process that is clearly in our national interest, and FERC is supposed to be an independent and not subject to pressure from the White House or the Department of Energy. Do you think this committee should consider revoking DOE's review for these projects and give sole authority to FERC?
I would defer to you on what you think is best, but I would give this perspective for you to consider. The pipeline cancellations that have taken place in this country and the pushback has obviously shown that there is there's a need for us to take actions to reform the permitting process. And hopefully we can get it right, because without it, we're on the brink of another energy crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Mr. McCown, Mr. Pallone earlier said exporting more LNG from the United States will help China. Can you give your thoughts on that comment?
Yeah, well, with China building a coal-fired power plant every other week, couple of weeks, it's hard to see how that's the case. And what's curious to me is if we care about emissions, we should be talking about China and India a whole lot more and less to the United States. But U.S. LNG abroad is reducing greenhouse gas emissions through substitution of not only coal, but other even higher intensity burning products.
Thank you. And Mr. McCown, I've been told Germany is very upset that we are doing this so-called pause on LNG permits because, quite frankly, they were promised by the Biden administration that we were going to help them if they got rid of Russian national gas. Is that what you understand, and what are your thoughts on that?
That is what I understand as well, and let's remember that Germany runs on natural gas, not renewables just yet.
Thank you very much, and I yield back.
Only yields it back. I'll now go to Mr. Cardenas for 5 minutes.